Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today's card is a masculine one using a couple of different stamp sets, and you'll notice that I haven't got a sentiment on it. I haven't quite decided which sentiment I want to put on it, so I've left mine plain. But if you wanted to add a sentiment, you could certainly stamp a sentiment, cut it out and add it down here, or you could use Versamark and emboss a sentiment here, sort of heat emboss it, and you could easily add a sentiment to it. But this card is one that I'm sending to my dad in the UK, and I'm on a bit of a mission this month. I'm trying to send him a card every week, and so I know that the map is from landlocked Alberta and part of landlocked the USA, but I just wanted him to see this little piece at the top that says Banff and Calgary, so that he knows it's come from me. So I'm not worrying too much that there is no sea here, just that I wanted that little part of the paper. So let me show you how I made this. It really is quite a simple card. I started off with one of the new in colour cards, and this is Cinnamon Cider. I don't think I've scored it, so let me just find my paper trimmer and let's get that scored. Scored at 5.5 here. If you check my blog, all the sizings will be there, so you don't need to worry about writing anything down right now. Okay, so here's my card. And you know that usually when I make a card this way, it's going to stand up like this. It's not going to be one that stands up this way and splays. So that's going to be the front of my card. And then I have some early espresso, my Whisper White, and a little piece of DSP. And the DSP is from this pack, the World of Good Specialty Designer Series paper. And you've seen me use this one before. It's a really nice paper. It's noisy though, sorry. And it's got lots of gold foil, and it is a specialty paper. So lots and lots of different ones. And you can see that the piece I have is Cinnamon Cider on the back, and it's not got cinnamon cider on here, but it's going to blend in with the browns that I use, so it works for me. I nearly threw my little piece of paper away then. Okay, now this Cinnamon Cider card, I don't have a full pack of just this card. What I did was I bought one of these sets where you've got all of the in colours and just a few sheets of each, so that you can experiment. There's no just jade in here. I've used all that up. But I find sometimes that that's a little bit more economical until you know which of the colours you really love. Now, this is going to go on the inside, so let's get that glued in first. And with this liquid glue, I only ever scribble. I don't go right up to the edges, because sometimes if you go right to the edges, when you put it down in your card, you'll find that it squeezes out of the sides, makes a bit of a mess. So I don't go up to the edges, and nothing's ever fallen out. So I think that works perfectly. The other piece of early espresso is going on the front. Just like that. And then my little piece of DSP is going to go on the front as well, but it's only going to go halfway across. And you'll notice that I've cut this slightly differently to my first one. Here I had a much smaller border, but I actually quite like it with the bigger border. So when you look at the measurements on my blog, you'll see that this is cut a little bit bigger than my original card. And there we go. Okay. So let's put that to one side, and I'll show you the next pieces. The next thing I did was use these Hippo and Friends dies. And you might remember I used this last week on my card for Dad too. And I used these two. So I wanted two that nested together, and these were just the right size. If you don't have this set, these stitched nested label dies, they would work just as well. And if you don't have those, you could cut a rectangle with your paper trimmer and just have one sort of 1/4 of an inch smaller. So don't worry if you haven't got these dies, it doesn't mean that you can't make this card. Okay, so let's put that to one side. Now with the larger one, I cut that out with the cinnamon cider and just rolled it through the big shot, and it's all done. And with the smaller one, which is this piece here, what I did was I cut the white piece out already because I needed to know how much space I had available for my stamps. But actually another way that I could have done it is to cut that out and use it as a template. Let's just pop this here. And then have another piece of Whisper White underneath. Let's just find another piece. Oops. Or to do it like this, pop this on the top and then make your image in here. And that way you know just how much space you've got and what you need to do. But for mine, I've already cut it out. And all I'm going to do is sort of pop it back in as I stamp. Now, to line up the stamps, I've already put mine on, but let's take them off and show you what I did. I knew that they had to fit in this space here. So first of all, I got my little yacht, and these are from, sorry, I should have shown you, these are from the Sailing Home suite. So I got the little yacht and I just sort of stood it inside the frame, and then I just got the little birds and did the same. I just popped them in like that, and then I got my block, stuck it down, and that way I know that that's going to fit inside that frame. Okay, now before I actually stamp that, I'm going to do the background. So let's find all the pieces I need. Let me put that white card away. So I'm stamping with early espresso, and then I'm going to do a tiny little bit of sponging. And I've got this for the waves, and this is from the Framed by You set, this here. If you have the other High Tide set that has the other lighthouse in, there is a little piece on there that looks like water as well that you could use. And if you didn't have any of those, you could always draw little lines with one of your marker pens. Okay, so I've got that inked up, and I don't want it full strength, so I'm just going to stamp off 3 times. I don't want it to be very strong at all. And then I'm just going to go across like this. So 1, 2, 3. Don't worry if they don't, match up, meet up. They're not meant to. Okay. Now, I'm just going to stamp off a little bit more and go over there. Okay, so at the moment it doesn't look like much of anything, but by the time you put the colour in, it will look more like the sea, I promise. Okay, so now I've got my little sponge dauber, and I'm going to use crumb cake. And I'm not going to put very much on. If I put the other one here, you can see I didn't ink very much at all. I just dab on here. Just going to rub some of it off because I don't want too much. And then literally I'm just going to go in little circles over that stamped image. You can make some a little bit darker if you want, some a little bit lighter, but there's no real knack to it. Okay, and then I'm going to use the same dauber to do the sky. I'm just going to turn my piece round. I haven't put any more ink on, and I know I haven't got very much on here at all. I'm just going to go round and round so that you get a little bit of colour on there. And you can see what I did also here was I used the edge of the dauber just to give sort of an illusion of clouds or something. So all I did, no more ink, I just squeezed, pushed that where the edge is, and then I just went over it again so it didn't look too dark or anything. And you don't want too many. There we go. Okay, So that's the end of that part. I'm going to put this one away because I don't need this anymore. I need that early espresso back again. And I'm going to ink up those stamps that we've already worked out where the placement is. So just with the early espresso, just going to stamp over here. And you just need to make sure that the bottom of your cling stamp here sort of fits round the bottom here and gives you just a little bit of space. But make sure the top of your yacht doesn't fall off your paper. There. So now at the moment you think, oh, I can't see, the sails here. All I can see is like a transparent boat. So what you need next are some of your blends. And I've got the bronze blend that I'm going to do the sails with. And you'll see that those lines really quickly disappear. I'm just going to change this over to the other tip, just because I need it a little bit finer. Now, I did choose a seaside theme because where I grew up, we were, only 15 minutes away from the beach and the sea. So that's why I went with a sea theme. And also because I wanted it to look like sort of sailing across the miles kind of thing as well. Okay, and then I've got my dark crumb cake and I'm just going to do the bottom of the boat in this. With the crumb cake as well, I'm just going to go over a little of those lines that already come on the yacht stamp, just so there's a little bit more colour there. There we go. That's all the colouring I'm doing. Now this would look really nice done in blues and things as well, and a little bit more nautical colourings. Okay, let me just attach that onto there. Check that's just showing, that's it. I just wanted to make sure it was in the middle. Okay, and then we need a few dimensionals. Let's see where I've hidden those. Pop a few on, as I know it's going through the mail, so I need to make sure that's not going to come unstuck. Pop it across the middle. Now if you wanted as well, you could add some ribbon under here. I've got some of the copper ribbon from the autumn set. That would be really pretty as well if you wanted to put some underneath here. But I'm not going to put ribbon on. What I am going to put on are some of the little in colour dots. These ones are the in colour enamel dots, and this is the cinnamon cider on here. But can you see how pretty this card would be with that misty moonlight? I think that would look really nice too. And then I'm just going to put the little dots the same as I did before. I started in that corner and I just made it go 3 up. Not quite in a straight line, but you get the idea. And then I'm going to make it go, oops, nope, that one doesn't want to come off. Let's get this one. I'm going to make it go this way there. And then just one more. If you don't have these ones, you could use pearls or rhinestones and colour them with one of your blender pens. So it might look nice to have the same over this side as well. But there we are, that's my sort of sepia coloured card for today. And this is the one that I'm sending to my dad, of course, because it has the Banff and Calgary pictures on. But it would make a really nice masculine card, sort of birthdays, anniversaries, just a thank you note. I think it's quite a nice little layout and quite an easy one to replicate. So thanks for watching me, everybody. hop on over to my blog if you need the measurements, and I hope to see you all again soon. But thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Bye everyone. Bye bye.